So is what I'm doing here. So I'm setting these the projection boss up on opening of the day 9:30. And so depending on, how obviously we're going to use the volatility and the entropy. We want to see, are we buying, are we selling, what are we going to do? So if you go into intraday and that volatility is all the way cranked up,
Yeah.
I'm probably going to be selling. I'm probably
Yeah.
going to be selling. And it's what I'm going to do. So first, let's go out to close of day.
So
Boom.
when you say selling, is that the same thing if you in your head of saying you maybe be buying puts more than you'd be buying calls? Do you get what I
Uh,
mean?
no, because that's
No.
that's
Okay.
pretty much that's just buying premium. I'm going to sell the premium. If the
Oh,
volatility is high, that's when I'm going to sell premium because
got it.
if the
Got it.
volatility, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. My thing's just going in and out. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
that's fine. Okay. So if the volatility is totally expanded,
Mhm.
is what I'm looking for. First, I want to see how it's correlated, and if the correlation's breaking. Especially, we're going to be down. If I'm intraday trading options, I'm going to be down here on the 15-minute. I'm gonna run this projection. I'm gonna go out to, let's see what time, hours. Where is? Give me a second.
Yeah.
4 o'clock. Where are you, little bugger? Oh, there we go. Oh, you sucker! I didn't have the damn. There it is. Boom. So here's open day, close the day. So the first thing I'm going to do is ideally, if I'm trading intraday, obviously I want to buy the premium, right? I'm going to buy. I'm going to buy the premium, unless that volatility is totally expanded. Best case scenario, it's starting to expand. So I'm going to go out here to the 95 for Laplace. Let me see here. I'm a big like straddle strangle guy. Like keep it simple. Sometimes it can turn into something more, but if we're talking about just intraday, it's going to
Yeah.
be a lot easier just one leg, right? I'm going to buy a put, I'm going to buy a call, I'm going to sell a put, I'm going to sell a call.
Yep. Yeah, that's all
So,
I'm talking about doing. But yeah, I got you.
right. So here's the great thing. It's like if you're running this 15-minute chart and say we started this morning, I like the way the charts looked. I'm going to buy a call. I'm going to buy a call, boom. And is what I'm going to do. Because the same with like when people are trading futures, which people don't even understand what futures are for, right?
Right.
People are out here degenning, swing trading futures. If you're going to trade futures, which it's literally not what they're supposed to be for, you use futures to hedge your
Yep.
options.
Yep.
So I'm going to be looking for this 95 for Laplace. I don't care if it happens in the first hour because you can get back in them, right?
Right.
I'm going to take my profit. So if this projection starts running and we hit the 95 for Laplace, I'm going to immediately go to my other charts. I'm going to be like, is this a sustainable move to go to the 99.7? And when you're on these low time frames, a majority of the time it'll run. But if it doesn't appear, I'm just going to take the profit. And this is where people that don't use the distribution, they don't know they don't know where price action's at and they don't understand the probabilities. So if you're sitting at a probability level 95.4% that move is done, oh God, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Am I going to take the profit on that probability, or am I going to be like, no, I'm going to go with the 4.6% and I'm going to let this thing run out to the end of the day? Hell no, I'm going to take it immediately. And if the action's still hot, I'm just going to move. As soon as I get out of that options trade, I'm going to move. I'm going to start that projection at that candle again, reevaluate the charts. Hey, you never know. You could have a few. You could get in a few trades in that one day. But it's all about that's people when they start trading options, they're just like, okay, I'm locked in. Let's see what happens. It's like, this is just like freaking any other trades. Take your profit.
Agree
Especially
with you.
like when I was trading Bitcoin options at Durabit before they told the Americans to go kick mud. Um, I was is what I was doing. I was working like I'd throw up a daily chart. I'd project the cone out 45 days. and then I would see where the 95.4 Laplace was. Boom. So say if I'm buying a strangle, right? I would be buying a put and buying a call at that 95.4 Laplace level 45 days out. Now you can go 45 to 60.
Got it. No,
But
I'm understanding what you're saying. I got it.
okay.
Yeah.
And so, and this is kind of going on the whole, I mean, Tasty Trades got their little philosophy on what they like to do. But I started going, well, wait a minute. These guys have a fucking exchange. So it's like they're literally operating exchange, but and then out of the other side of their mouth, they're like literally telling people how to set up these options trades. And I started thinking, I was like, what if these guys are giving out this information for their exit liquidity?
Absolutely.
And I'm like, oh.
Absolutely.
So I started because they were, I think when they first started talking, they were literally like 45 to 60, or 45 to 60, I think. So I capped it at 45. And then as soon as I would get, I'm talking like 50% profit, something like that, boom, I just get out of the trade. I take my profit. And this is, this is like,
So listen, real
probably,
quick, on a 1 minute, could you do the same thing, say, in 45 minutes and 60? So you're saying going out 45 days and 60 days, you think we could go out 45 minutes or
sure.
60 minutes and do the same thing? Because that really makes sense when you say it like that.
Yeah, and that's what I did on
Yeah.
the 15 minutes.
Interesting.
I
Okay.
ran it out 40. I ran it out 45 candles because
Interesting.
I want to see where those 95.4% ranges are, because that's what we're
Hmm.
using it for. We're using it for, we need to know when to take profit. That's why a majority of people that that are trading, unless they really know what they're doing, they're just gonna their profits just gonna ooze all over the place. They're gonna lose so much money.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. I could see. So if you're actually looking at that spot, let's say 45 minutes out at the 94% on the up and down. I see why you were doing the strangle or straddle, whichever way you were, whatever they call it. I get that.
Yeah.
So you're playing it. But that's interesting. So then that means I could look at, say, hypothetically, because you could look at SoFi's prices today. SoFi went nuts. I mean, the stock's up $1. It reached over 8. And I was looking at SoFi calls this morning.
Mhm.
And obviously they don't open up till 9:30. So obviously they gap to, they're going to gap right with everything. You know what I mean? But now you have SoFi $7, puts, which are, I'm just pulling this up just to talk about it because it's got liquidity today and it's volatile. So right now, say hypothetically, and wait, I should have come up. So a $7 put right now is trading at 6 cents, down 82 cents, and the $8 call is trading at now 21 cents, up 14 cents. But you get what I mean? So there's value. So if I went out 45 minutes, which each one of those, and looked at the 94%, yeah, maybe I'm thinking about this backwards.
No. Oh
No,
yeah, looking at SoFi right now. Oh, that was a powerful outlier.
oh yeah, I mean, nice gap up, and obviously to where it is, the $8 call, like I said, was probably trading at 3-4 cents, and I think it hit a high at 30. It's, what is it, up 200% or something? Nice
Yeah.
move.
Profit. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly, right off the bat. So I'm just thinking, like, so the question that I'm struggling with myself personally is, okay, so let's say I'm going to watch SoFi all day here today. Do I look at the prices? Do I look at the 650, 750, or 8? And there's where I could use the projection bosses to figure out maybe what the percentile with the Laplace and stuff. Maybe that's how I could find what price option to play. Am I sort of making sense to you what I'm trying to say here?
Yeah, yeah, I understand. I think what you're saying. Yeah, you're fine. That's what's great about these indicators for sure. Because you're literally gonna. Let me throw a projection on. So let's see something.
Yeah, because
Hmm.
I'm trying to set it up on my screen on SoFi, and I'm not. Maybe I'm because I'm using PB2 and it's not seeing it right. But I'd have to put a whole bunch of PB1s because this is a non-continue. To get this to look right. So maybe you have it on your screen.
Right.
Yeah, and I appreciate you looking at this. I'm sorry to bother.
No, it's not a bother at all.
Yeah,
Yeah, boy, this thing is freaking just.
yeah. Look at that.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, this thing's so far outside the distribution, it's insane. Um. Hmm.
So then the question, so if you're looking at it right now, that's the live chart. Should you think we'd be looking at this? I mean, with the price targets, is there anything with our stuff that says what the price target? So is the $7, 750 or 850, whether it be put or call, would the projection bosses help in picking out what dollar value put or call to play? So it would give me, or do I just need to go look at theta and gamma and, Vega to do that? Again, I'm not an options guy, so I mean I understand what they do, but
Yeah, yeah. And the Greeks, I'm going to be
yes.
honest right now, because of our tools right here, I'd fucking throw
Hmm.
them out the window.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
good. Well
because
done.
that can be so damn confusing. I mean, it's just
Hmm.
okay. What am I looking at here? It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
It's super confusing. But that's
Yeah.
what having these projection bosses and just understanding entropy and
Hmm.
volatility makes it so much easier. And like right now, let me
Hmm.
see here. Let me throw this on a 45. God, man, this thing is just so far out. So is what you're looking at now. Because
Hmm.
if you were to get in this and say you bought a call,
Okay.
I'm already taking profit. There's no doubt about it. I'm
Agreed.
taking profit, and at this point, I'm probably looking at an area to buy a put.
And I agree with you there too.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. Maybe the 750 put, so that's 30 cents out of the money right now, or 40 cents out of the money. And that's what I guess my question to you is that do our tools in your head or in your mind frame, Bilbo, do they give us what would be the better play? The $8 put, the 750 put, the $7 put? You know what I mean? Because I think that's the only
yeah,
level that they have them in.
Well, I
yeah.
mean, the indicators are going to give you a price point based on the volatility level. So you still, as the trader, right? You've got to pick your poison. So where do where do you think based on the other tools where what level's going to be hit? So if
Okay.
you want to take your risk on the 95, or do you want to really do you think the outlier is going to continue and you want to then come back to the general mean, or there's all kinds of plays to be had. You still have to
Right,
make that
right.
decision.
Okay. All right, and I got you. I mean, right now I'm looking at an $8, but these are expiring today. So I'm looking at no, actually today's the third. These are expiring on the fifth, so they got 2 days left. So hypothetically, a 750 put trading at 15 cents, a $7 put trading at 5 cents. Down like 70% for the day.
Yeah.
You
It
know
would
what I
be
mean? So
interesting,
again,
Bilbo, if you put that marker back, like further back, and see what that projection looks like farther out.
Um,
I
the
don't know
thing
if
is, we probably want to run. We got to go lower time frames. But is what I would be using the 45 and 90. I'm looking at this 45 minute, and I'm like, number one, this is a massive outlier.
yeah.
The
yeah.
return oscillator is so far outside the 99% confidence interval. Look at the RO; it's way outside the 2 SD band. Look at the DLP. Holy
Wow.
shit! I mean,
Yeah.
that thing is just
Yeah.
up big time. And then I'm going over here, and this is what I was talking about: volatility, 100%,
Yeah.
entropy. I mean, look at that entropy. Look at that trend. How
Yeah.
deep that
It's
is.
amazing.
That's my
This
point.
all
Yes.
day.
Yeah.
I would have been playing this real time, probably right at 10 o'clock. I might have, yeah, eight
I
dollars,
mean,
750, probably the 750
Yeah,
because
me
it's
later
what? How much
now.
is the 750?
trading for 14 cents right now.
Yeah,
It's down a
that,
dollar
that would
10.
It's coming
that
back
would
right now.
probably that would probably be the better call. And that's a great thing about if you're buying premium, it's a
Hmm.
lot easier to be like, well, this looks like it's going to do what I think it's going to do. Worst case scenario. So you buy that. I mean, what, 15 cents? I mean, fuck, all you're going to lose is the premium.
Right. So, Bilbo, if
Different
you
if
put,
you're selling.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
If you're fucking selling premium, that's when you get these people jumping out of 50-story windows and shit when they get
Yeah.
their market calls.
Oh, yeah. Without question, man.
What's happening to me?
So if you
So
put put SoFi on a 1 minute chart, like real,
yeah, I
see
was about to
on
say that.
yours, and then how does your PB play
Yeah, let's.
out? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So maybe you'd have the PB go back to the fourth bar of the day, then 36 there at the bottom, have it start there maybe. You see what I mean? So that would be, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
guess. like the 935 candle or the 936 and have it start from there to show your projection. And maybe that would give,
Yeah,
I don't know,
that-
maybe that shows a bit different picture.
35. Let me throw this on 35.
Well, I would say
real
generally,
quick.
like you want to put these tools, these projection bosses on areas where that move started. That's why Bilbo's going back to where he is right now. You want to see
Right.
what does that distribution look like from the area of where the volatility started.
Right. MJ, that's why I said right around the fourth or fifth bar of today, which
Yep.
is perfect, right where he did
Yep,
it. Yeah.
exactly.
So look, so that's written, that's the 94%, right? That's written up the whole time, or is that the 90%?
Yeah, the 95.4. Yep, it's right here,
Yeah.
and it looks like it's going to make another charge up to it.
Yeah, it looks like it maybe too. You know what I mean? And so that's the question. So then looking using it from this perspective, that's like, well, maybe the 850 call. I mean, we could go either way. You know what I mean? I guess based on the other indies to figure out, do I want to go the 850 call, or do I think because it's so far out on the outliers that we should see some retraction, or mean revert or whatever we want to,
Yeah.
Yeah, but these gaps, you know how these things are when they gap up, man. You know what I mean? Like, look at HKD. How do you go from $15 to $2,000 in a week?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
I can't
that's
show-
the danger, and that I think Yasha was kind of hitting on that earlier, where look, at the end of the day, these are just their volatility levels. It doesn't mean they have to be respected all the time. I mean, you have a situation like that where, I mean, it blows it out of the water. I mean, and this is what got who help me, guys? Who was that? Who was the company that originally was using the Black and Scholes model and got screwed? That the documentary was about.
Long-term capital management.
Yeah, long-term capital management. I mean, that's what's
yeah.
ultimately screwed them over. Is they trusted the math so much that they lost sight of the fact that they could, that when the shit hits the fan, the math goes out the window. Because if the whole world's falling apart, you're going to have a 6-7 standard deviation move, and you're going to be like, well, that was impossible to happen. No, it wasn't impossible. It fucking happened.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I remember that happening, man. That's insane. Well, I mean,
But those guys, but at the same time, it's thanks to those guys that we have
Yes,
this whole model
right.
in place, right? They brought all this model to options traders on the market in the first place. That's why this stuff even exists. It was created for options traders to be able to trade futures and know that they have a better, statistical probability of being right.
Yes.
To reduce uncertainty and increase probability.
Yeah.
So on futures. And it was not for what we do primarily, which is scalp low time frame, but we figured out how to do it by using it that way. And here we are. And so it's like now you can literally scalp options essentially with these tools without having to necessarily be an expert at the Greeks.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do. That's the goal here.
I'm sure it helps. I'm sure it helps. And options are so complex that I wouldn't even pretend to say I'm a good options trader.
Yeah.
But the Greeks are super important, but at the same time, dude, if I can scalp them, ultimately I'm just buying and selling.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't, it's like I'd rather just scalp out, scalp delta and be done.
Oh, I agree. So, I mean, and today's a good example for these because you have SoFi moving like this and you have Ford Motor Company, both stocks that have, fairly been beaten down, both stocks that are, they're smaller price. They're not moving $40, $50 like Tesla and all that shit. So great day to be, and their prices on their options are cheap. So, like you hear me saying there, for that, hypothetically on this, SoFi, the 850 call right now is at 6 cents. You know what I mean? And then the 750 puts at 12 cents. So, cheap to play. Ford, the same thing. It's trading, 1571, and you can do a 16 call or 1550 put, both very inexpensive. 17 cents and 19 cents. And that's what I was trying to figure out is like if on a 1 minute, if I put the projection bosses, put up the entropy, put up the AME, all that kind of shit, if I can correlate that to get, to make that profitable. Which is why I'm asking you guys about this right now.
I mean, that's why I like the projection boss and the Laplace levels when I'm looking at things like short-term options trades, because they give you an incredibly accurate scalping level to use that you can use. And with the RMLR and the direction predictor, I mean, dude.
Yeah.
You see how it works. You see how it works. Scalping perps or scalping, whatever
Yeah.
spot. Like it's the
Yeah.
same thing. It's just a different asset, but it's the
Yeah.
same thing. And you see the moves very clearly, and it's like you have a very good indication of if you're going to be in the money or out of the money, or striking exactly on your target or whatever. You have all that information, and I don't know. I don't. I'm not an expert options trader, but it's not the hardest thing in the world to do when you have this information. Like it reduces a lot of
Yeah, it
the
takes a lot of the mystery out of
uncertainty.
it. Yeah, for
It
sure.
really does. It makes it very visual. Maybe almost. I'm sure people at HFT firms who just like to look at Excel spreadsheets or whatever will be like, oh, I don't look at indicators because they're just silly or whatever. But it's like, yeah, well, if you know how to read them, it's not silly at all. So I
You're
find it
right.
I find it a very useful way to trade options without having to be an options expert.
Well, that's good to hear because it's exactly what I'm trying to do as well. And I trade the minis. I think they work. These tools work amazing for the minis because it's the the index.
Yeah.
The
Right.
S&P future minis are amazing because you're in and
Yeah.
out. They're liquid. It's super easy. And our tools, I find that the tools work because you guys are using them on crypto, and those are continuous markets. So the closest thing I have to that would be oil, gas. Oil and
Right.
S&P Dow minis. Unless
Right.
I tweak the tools, which I haven't done. But, when I put it to stocks here like this, I mean, I just posted a
Well,
chart up of 4 and here of
we do.
SoFi. And
There are non-continuous market overrides in a bunch of the tools like the RMLR and stuff, right? You
yes,
do use
which
that,
I do
right?
use. Yeah, that I do. Yes, I do. Yeah. Yeah.
And also the PV1 or the PV2 handles non-continuous very
Well, let me
nicely.
ask you. I'm just I'm making a new one. So if I put up at the very bottom of the PB2, there's two boxes. One that says, let's say if I have them both clicked off, the first one says beta feature, so future protection only for continuous markets. So on a
Right.
stock, I don't want that one. I want to click the lower one, the beta feature, where it says override continuous markets projection could
Yeah.
give false reads.
Yeah.
That's the one I want.
Yeah. You want to override continuous to have to have it work properly on stonks and things like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then also on the PB2, we have to manually always set it to what bar or where we want. Whereas the PB1 will go to the
Right.
lowest high or
Yeah.
lowest. Is there any way to
Right.
do that on PB2? Is there any way to have that set up,
No,
or it would
it's
automatically?
not. It doesn't right now.
Okay.
But the thing to do, because especially I know it's annoying on scalps, like 1 minute and stuff. You have
Right.
to constantly change it. But instead of having to do that, and what I'll do with a PB2 on stumps and whatever, because they tend to move also differently. They tend to be a little bit more, or a little bit. They tend to be a little less volatile, but obviously they could be volatile as heck. And
Okay.
as you've been showing us the last several days with these other assets that you've been pointing out, like insane volatility.
Right.
But in any case, what I do is I'll put it at at a reversal candle, the proper reversal candle, and then I'll set it there, and I'll just keep it there and mark it in my I'll mark it with like a dot or whatever, a line or something,
Hmm.
just so that I know where it's supposed to be, even as time moves on,
Got it.
because otherwise you have to constantly reset it. So instead, I just put my
Right.
targets. I literally just draw like a line or whatever to
Okay.
put, like even a crude one. It doesn't matter. Like as long as it's roughly in the area,
Yeah.
and then I monitor it that way, because otherwise it could be a pain to have to constantly move the PB2 every 1 minute. I get that, but
Do you
it's
think do you think that would be a relatively easy fix for Donnybrook or Van Epp to have us where we could do an automatic nearest near or
no,
lowest,
no. I mean, maybe, but I don't. If it was an easy fix, it would have probably been done. I think I've
Okay.
asked her about it more than
Yeah,
once.
he
But,
just said it's on his to-do list. That's
yeah,
fine. It's called an
right.
anchor function. I get it.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
cool.
yeah. But I mean, that's why like I just manually mark it off
Fair
for
enough.
scalps. But the thing is, the PB2, when I normally like when I would look at a proper options trade, like let's say I wanted to do a swing trade, long-term options actual trade,
Yeah.
then that's easy, because then I'm looking at the daily, or the 4 hour or the whatever, the 10 hour.
Right.
I'm not so worried about the 1 minute, so I don't have to move it. It's pretty much stays the same for a while.
Right.
Sometimes even the whole move, the whole
Yeah.
performance, the lifetime of the trade.
Got it.
But that's, I mean, I really don't do those very much, but that is what they're for, because that's what most options traders that are not high frequency traders are trading, right? They're trading like
Right.
weeks out. They're trading like whatever, 41 days or 42 days, whatever the hell it is.
Right. Well, I
So
appreciate the answer. You answered what I was trying to say. So here's a hypothetical. I just put up a chart here. This is the SoFi chart that I sort of created with PB2 and all that. And this is also using yours, Bilbo. I see you have yours up here. And so you're right. So when we saw it up here at this 95 where it's tagged along, it's left that. And I on my chart, I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 lines,
Mhm.
and so then that could also those are good for scalps, but I could also be scalping the option on it. I was just curious, and I guess it's just having to use all the tools, even like you said, MJ. If you're using all the tools, that would help your decision whether you're going to play the 750 call or 750 put or $8 or 850 call. Just figuring out which one it is. And I was just curious if you guys had insight. Is would these tools help you pick the asset between the call or put any differently, or any suggestion you have? But I think you guys have answered this already. So
Yeah. And it's
yeah,
all going to depend on volatility for me, whether well, that's buying or selling premium. But boy, it helps the entropy, right? If you're going into a
yeah.
move that's trending, it's a no-brainer. You're going to buy premium.
yeah,
You're definitely going to buy it. And this is, where was that? The 5 minute? Yeah, this is what's cool too. So when that pre-market, bam, positively
yeah.
correlate, significant volatility expansion, you get that pre-market. Then all this up move from literally about, I don't know, 720
Mm-hmm.
all the way to the top there at about almost 8,
Mm-hmm.
attracting volatility. And look where the correlation broke. It was still significantly positively correlated, but it started
Interesting.
sloping negative. And so that was all just a walk up from contracting volatility, negatively correlated. And so, and it was what
See it
happened a
now.
minute ago. This actual 5 minute candle expanded a little bit, and we got this 5 minute candle down move there. But now it's settled. It's settled right at about the same as the previous candle. Now we got 3 in a row, flat volatility, positively correlated. If that continues, this thing's going to walk down. It'll probably walk farther, but
Right.
the volatility can expand, and it's positively correlated. That's why I love running this predictor too, because the
Yeah.
predictor's going to shift, and it
Yeah.
did. Predictor
Mm-hmm.
bearish or right there.
Where
So
do you have where's your predictor on your chart? Which one are you using? Is it on your ATENT? Is that your predictor down there on the right,
yeah,
lower
yeah,
right?
it's the entropy line. I'm running the predictor in the entropy line.
That's cool. I can't wait till we have that. That's cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it should be. It's momentary too. We'll get that upgrade. I
Yeah.
think pulling stuff out of the code, using that
La-
stuff that people don't use, make it a little simpler.
Last week, African and I were on, and we were switching around. We moved one of the so I have like a couple different charts, obviously, and so one we were using the RMLR on this ALMA that you guys use, and then African and I set one up also using Jurek. Like that too. It seems to be a little bit more touchy, and it seems to have, obviously the RMLR looks different, but the predictor seems to be like one candle ahead of when we're using the AMLA on some things. Obviously, everything's always different, but we found that even using a jerk on it seems to work pretty good too.
Yeah,
Instead of the AMLA, not that anybody needs to, but it's just food for thought if anybody else is looking around or experimenting with that shit.
right.
But we don't need to tweak perfection anyways, because the RMLA, the way you guys have it, works like amazingly. So
Yeah,
my compliments
it is
again.
really good. It is really good.
It's amazing. No, I seriously, it's incredible. And I tell you what, I think it works amazing on a 30-minute too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously it seems to work better as the lower we go, but I think the 30-minute is astonishingly good.
Yeah, there's certain intervals where it works incredibly well, even at higher time frames. It's true. It's also the 1 hour. It depends on the asset, but the 1 hour sometimes nails. Not sometimes. The 1 hour is incredibly accurate, pretty much
Okay.
all the time.
Well, that's good to know because I feel the 1 hour works well too. But I'm glad I'm not the only one that's like seeing it that way.
Yeah.
So
For
you
sure,
know,
for
'cause-
sure. I just like the scalp with it on the lowers, obviously, but
yeah.
but to use it for a trend monitoring system is also really good. I like 4 hour and above, even if you're not using it to trade at that high time
Well,
frame.
just look at his minute chart you got up there. You go back 5 minutes. I mean, it nailed it to the T. It turned page,
Yeah.
I don't know, 10, 12 on his chart there. It's what is that?
Yeah.
That's a 80-point move, 90-point move. No brainer.
Yeah.
No fucking brainer. I mean, my compliments to you guys for creating this shit. Seriously, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
I can't
fly.
thank you guys enough.
Yeah. Yeah. We just fly this shit, man. Donnie and Van Epp
I know.
built this thing.
Well, my hat's off to all you guys, man. It's,
These are
I would have been
awesome,
nice sitting
awesome
on
jet
it.
fighters, man.
Yeah, it's incredible. You know.
Yeah.
So you have on there is real quick, Bilbo. You had that turning different colors on that predictor. So you have a red and blue. So what? So you have the pink and blue on your RMLR. What does the red and blue, the dark red and blue, mean for you on that?
That's
That
when they're less significant.
Yeah, that's pretty much to me. That's telling me there is a change coming, right?
Yeah.
Got it. All right.
Donnie,
So
can
it'd be
you
like my left.
make the other two colors a little bit better? Are
Yeah, you
able
can
to?
tweak them.
Oh, it's a
Yeah, you
warning to
can-
be ready. I got you, Donnie.
Yeah, that's what I
Nice.
kind of thought it was. And
Yeah,
so,
it's just when they're less significant or whatever.
Okay. So that's like
that
when
changes.
ours turns
Like
light
Bilbo
green
just-
or light red.
Yeah, like
Interesting.
it's exactly the warning. It's a warning to be ready. This, as Bilbo said, it's when it's going to turn around or do something.
It's awesome.
And
Okay.
also, and it's very nice, and you see it very nicely when it crosses over the mean. Obviously, when the RMLR and the mean intersect, that's always gangbusters, man. There's always some kind of move going to come in.
yeah,
And when you got two RMLRs with a mean in between, dude, that's just like
Which
because
is
again, what it means is everything is compressed, and the only thing it can do is expand. Again, you know.
right.
Yeah.
Well, so the only way that the way I've created a mean, and maybe I'm wrong here, is I use the UPM and I have one of my plots as a 35 power mean. Does that,
Yeah, sure.
does that
I
work
use
within your
33 a
math?
lot. Or 30. I use 30 or 33 a lot. I use 35 or 36
Okay.
a lot. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I found that African gave me the 35 one, and I think the 35 one using that and RWT at say or in cahoots also I think works very well too. That the
Yeah. Well, I think he
RWT.
also likes to use. I think he likes to use also 7 and 35. Well, he's right here. Hey, African. He likes to use. You like to use 735 a lot, right? I don't know if you can speak right now, but I know he likes to use 7.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
Well, what's up,
7
dude?
and 35. Hey, gents, what's up?
Yeah. Squares of 7 or what? Multiples of 7.
Good morning, African. How are you,
Yep.
brother?
All is well, G. All is well.
Yeah.
Just fighting some tick bite fever, so sorry I couldn't be on yesterday.
Tick
Oh,
bite. That's not like monkeypox, right?
I
No,
hope
that's
it's
like
not.
Yeah.
I said, hold on.
Old-
Well, apparently
the ticks.
yeah.
I got
Apparently,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Dude,
Apparently,
you
every
get the
state in the
medicine for
U.S.
that.
has it.
You got your meds for that, African? I hope you're well, man. Get well soon.
Shot, G. Yeah, I loaded up yesterday, and it's coming
Good.
off. It's wearing off. But yeah,
Well,
no, I'll
good,
just
good.
be sitting in the background. I run 7, 35, and 365. Also
There you go.
power mean at 365. It's very interesting, the 365.
Yeah.
So I nice message there, African, on the 5 ABRs on the options. I never thought about that because I also have that set up too. So when they all flash at
Yeah.
the same time, like you
Yeah.
normal.
Dude, yeah, if you have 5 different AVR links properly set, I mean, you're gonna
Yeah.
get that's a
I need-
strong signal. That's a
Yeah,
strong
yeah.
indication.
No, I got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. That's
Mhm.
I mean, 3 is strong enough, frankly,
Right.
but 5 is like, all right, now you're in, 5th gear and everything's high.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing. I'm on the pro level of TV, and I've got all 10 charts maxed out with all 10 with 10 indicators on all 10.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Got everything fucking. I need to spend another couple $100 and go up charts. I mean, it's I don't know why. I need to delete some. I've got one named after every one of you guys. I got the Yasha special, Bobo special, the MJ, the African. Everybody's got a chart name after it, man. Yeah,
Everybody
All-
gets a chart name.
yeah. Everybody chart for you. So.
79. Switches to 79. Yeah, I love these things. Incredible.
Well, I appreciate you spending a little bit of time on the. I just wanted to know. I get what you're saying on the PB, so I can see how it plays into it, and I think I've got one properly set up now.
Right.
And again, they're using the
By the way-
entropy with it.
And then-
do you use drift? I like to use drift on the probability on the projection bosses for options.
Okay, I never
Yeah.
thought. Okay,
Yeah, you can
I like
definitely.
drift on because
So-
traditional assets tend to do what traditional assets do, which is drift about 80% of the time, and therefore I leave drift on, especially for scalps.
So do you still leave the length drift at 365 and the max possible bar extend at 3000? Is that still okay to leave it that way?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I didn't know if that made a difference. And then I have the second beta one clicked on it, and I just clicked drift on to see.
I mean, I'll often make it shorter just because I don't need to see 1,000 bars out,
I got it. All right, yeah.
and that way it takes up less time to calculate and fill up the screen. But
Yeah.
you can stick it to the max. It doesn't really make a difference. But if on a scalp it takes an extra 3 seconds to load the screen or whatever,
Makes a
I'd
difference.
rather it didn't.
No,
Yeah,
I agree with
especially
you.
on
It
its
makes a
own.
difference. Well, that's kind of why I like.
On higher term, who cares on long term,
Yeah.
high term frame. But on scalps, it makes a difference. Every little
No,
counts. That's
I'm
why
with
I
you.
actually have a minute. Like what I actually do is I have the screens I share on Discord are not the screens I use to trade because I use a different computer that has just the trading exchange on it, and then I have another one with the actual charts I'm looking at, which are very minimalist compared to what I share in the channels. I remove as much as I can.
Yeah, the one I mainly trade with is I'm the same way because it's some of these. It's like my daughter walks by every now and then, she's like, "What the hell are you even looking at?" I'm like, "It's just air traffic control. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be okay."
Exactly.
Dots and
But
blips everywhere.
I mean, just because I want the chart to be as fast and up to date as possible when I'm actually trading, so
Yeah,
I have very minimalist charts that I use with all the information I need, but just not a bunch because I have usually a lot of duplicate information that's really not necessary.
yeah,
So
me too.
I pare it down, and then it's just all in one screen or two screens, and I'm good to go with that.
And so you have a whole set. So you're actually executing everything off a whole separate computer, you know what I mean? Because I have everything
I
running
have
on
like
one
a bunch
machine.
of little, devices for each
Got it.
exchange.
Well, that's cool. So probably keeps it
That
so
way
it's
they-
fast. Yeah,
Also that way, if one exchange goes down, it doesn't kill the connection or whatever, or it's just better to have them separate, ideally.
Mhm.
In a world where, first of all, I'm at the mercy of the internet not dying on me,
Yeah,
which happens.
yeah.
And therefore, I'm never on any exchanges anymore that I can't also get in on a mobile app on like a 4G or a 5G connection if I have to, so that or even an edge connection if I have to, so I can go in at least and cancel my trades. Because I'm not going to leave, if the internet goes down for even 10 minutes or something, that's not good. So, I keep it on different, but I mean, you don't have to have them on separate devices,
No,
it's
no,
just,
I have mine all on one. I have no. I paid up for a better machine and extra memory and all that other shit, so I'm pretty good. And then I told you I was dealing with cable, and it turns out that they had to They first off they didn't even run it all the way to the pole the first time correctly, and then the second time it turns out the cable that was running into my house was bad. So the whole year and a half I paid for a gig. I never got
Yeah.
above 100. Now I'm good. I run like 300-400 out of it. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's fine. And
but
I
in
will
any
say
case,
that
a couple monitors, 2 or 3 or 4 is usually plenty fine for what I need to do.
Yeah, I got 3 27-inch monitors I sit in front of, and it's almost too much.
Yeah, I've got like a couple of gigantic TVs like that I just use as monitors, and a couple of regular computer type monitors. But
Yeah.
it's just like 3, like 2 is even enough, frankly. But like 3 is totally fine.
Yeah.
4 if I need to. 4 if
I
I'm
like-
really busy trading a shit ton. But
I
usually
got
I'm
like
not.
monitors running the Exchange. The other 2 I got charts on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
I think
run one
Yeah,
laptop
it's the
for
same
trading.
concept. It's the same
Yeah.
concept. I just separate my bus ports basically by having different devices. But I'm separating the ports on there that are using on the router just by having different devices so that because it's happened to me more than once that like one exchange will be hard to use and it'll lock up whatever the hell else is going on that machine. And like on Binance or on Bybit or on KuCoin or on Coinbase, whatever, any of those exchanges, they'll like lock up during super volatile times. And then it's like you can't do anything on there. But if you have each one on a separate device, you can at least get out of the ones that haven't locked up yet.
Yeah.
Because Binance does that a lot, dude. I mean,
Binance
really,
and,
like every time there's a big
Coinbase, too.
and Coinbase. It's
Yeah,
they're notorious for it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you ain't logged in during the big move, you ain't gonna be logged in until the big move is
yeah,
over.
yeah, for sure. And if
That's
you even
crazy.
are logged in for the big move and you're trying to get out because it's going the wrong direction, you ain't gonna be able to. It's crazy. You know?
Yeah.
That's why you
It's
got to
so-
be on it. You know?
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Coinbase is pretty famous for being the on ramp, here in the States, right?
Oh God.
Because that for a long time that was the first and only place you could easily buy crypto, and
Right.
I remember it never failed. Like you'd see some shit going down, you try to go in and buy some stuff, and it's like frozen. I mean, it's a piece of shit.
Oh yeah.
It's terrible.
Oh, dude, I
man.
remember-
Yeah, it's fucking terrible.
In the run up to 20K in 17, I mean, Coinbase was locked for hours at a time, and it was
I can't
horrible.
even imagine that.
It is so bad. Jesus.
I mean, that makes you think, right? Like, what are they doing?
Oh, could you imagine the scalping that was done in those run-ups back in those days? Oh my God! If I was making markets doing this stuff, it's just a license to steal, and you don't even need a license.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, but in
yeah.
2017, it was still mostly retail back then. In 2017,
Right.
it really started to be big banksters around as soon as that bubble popped.
Right. Yeah.
In 2018,
Of course,
when they all got in on the cheap during the drop in 2018.
yeah. Well, then that was smart. But I mean, I'm still though. I mean, if you have no regulations, I mean, obviously now they're busting people for insider trading and that shit. But I mean, that's what 5 years later, 3 years later, whatever the number is. It usually takes that long anyway. They're going to end up regulating all those exchanges, and a bunch of them will go away. And
Coinbase is right. I mean, Coinbase is fully regulated. That's the only reason they would manage to prosecute anybody. But like all the other exchanges, even Binance has a group of people that work with the regulators, but they're not regulated.
No, exactly.
Right. Unregulated exchange. They work with federal authorities because they want to have a good relationship so they continue doing business on Binance US. But that doesn't mean they're regulated.
The bottom line is
Binance US does fall under US regulation, yeah, but like regular Binance, where all their actual business is, does not.
I don't think they enforce best execution practices. That's what happened to me when I was making markets. So they changed all the rules that every print I got, you had to get. So it basically said to us years ago that unless you have a not held order in your hand or 10,000 shares or more, that basically every print, all the risk shifted from the customer to the broker dealer and market maker, which is who I was. And so then basically I'm like, well, let me ask you a question. How many people make pizzas at $7 and sell it at $7? How many are going to stay in business? Well, nobody. So hence why most of the little mom and pop broker dealers that like I worked for are all gone. Because so now you bring that over into the Wild West, which we're doing here, and so I ended up going from regular stocks to penny stocks and making markets of penny stocks because those rules didn't apply. And then you come over here to cryptos and shit. I mean, like you send me an order to buy, I don't know, 15 Bitcoin, I can give you prices all over anywhere I want. I mean, as long as it's not too far outside of it, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I mean, and then there's no ramifications if I give you a shitty fill when something's really moving. Maybe there is. I don't think there is. Right. Yeah, because I look at some of the fills. You know, you hit Coinbase now, if I hit enter, it's just like, you know, between the time I hit enter and it says that the trade is done, I mean, you kidding me? It's a couple seconds sometimes,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Yeah. How many
And
times does it mention what you buy, right?
that's on their proper exchange version as opposed to the retail just spot buy site,
Exactly. You know, so
which is even worse.
yeah, that's my
Plus,
point.
Yeah, how many orders were front run to your to your buy?
Yeah. You know, the New York Stock Exchange, here's a funny story. I mean, you guys know this. So when I first started trading, I was a runner on the New York Stock Exchange. This is like 87 and 88. And there were probably 3,500 guys down there running back and forth, traders in the pits, and guys off the side with phones calling up to the desk. And, you know, now if you went down there, there's about 80 guys down there. That's it. There's only like 80, 70 or 80 people left. And all the sides of the New York Stock Exchange are just nothing but supercomputers at the high frequency firms. So they have instantaneous connections. So if you're sitting at home at Schwab using them hypothetically, and you go to buy 2,000 shares of market of Microsoft, their computers on the floor literally will see it and flip it back and forth 2 or 3 times in the 1 second by the time you get your fill.
Yeah,
You know what I
is
mean? If
so
it's just
insane.
automatic. It's crazy,
Sure.
you know. It's nothing but high, you know, supercomputers. So when you walk down on the exchange, you have your Cheddar, CNBC, and Fox all set up
Yep.
down there, and they're like, booze, there ain't nobody left down there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
it's
And
it's
they're
sad
literally
'cause-
running millions of trades per second per bot.
right, exactly, yeah,
It's just like the low end ones are running hundreds of thousands of trades per second.
right, yeah, right,
The low end ones, the ones that like a junior developer makes to show them that he knows how to make a bot.
right. It's insane. I mean, so if so, basically, you want to talk about fronting. So you've made it illegal, which I never understood because they used to break our balls all the time about front running or trading ahead of a customer or not posting his order on the exchange. You know, you've made it to the point where, but it's okay for guys to jump in front of your order 14 times in the 1.5 seconds it takes you to get your fill. You know, everybody's traded it for a zill in between. I don't know how they
Yeah.
do it because the NASD and the FINRA and all that used to charge us like a 0.000001 per share. But if you're doing 100 million shares, in a day, those fees got to add up somewhere. Some of them's absorbing that, unless they don't have them anymore. But I think they do. I guess it would be like a gas fee in this, right? In crypto, right? Sort of.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't know what gas fees are except for the fees to do the transaction.
Yeah, that's what gas fees literally are. They're paid. They're partly paid to the miners for their effort in making the transaction and mining the crypto, the block.
Right.
But mostly it's burned, right? In order
Right.
to keep the currency. Anyway, but that's what gas fees are literally. But the thing is that the miners are incentivized to not make them ever be cheaper, right? Like they're happy when they're more expensive, obviously.
So
And-
is it controlled by the price of gas fees controlled by anybody in particular or any regulated body or no?
It's controlled by basically the flow of traffic on the ETH highway, essentially, right? Like the more traffic there is, the more you're going to pay for gas.
I guess I don't
people
get it.
and people can pay more if they want to jump ahead of the line. So let's say you want to mint some NFT or buy something at a store or whatever the hell it is you want to use to use with your ETH, and for some reason you want to pay faster because you need it faster, or maybe you're going to win something if you get an earlier one, or who knows what. So you have the option to increase how much gas you're paying, like how much money you want to pay the taxi basically to take your parcel to the destination, and then you can skip the line. But the thing is that really is so not cool because it's not like you're paying 17 cents instead of 15 cents or $1 instead of 50 cents. We're talking hundreds or thousands of dollars, right?
Yeah, you
And the
told me
average
that. Yeah.
the
You
average
told
Joe
me
can't
that shit
afford that.
last week.
Yeah, so let's say you're in on a really cool NFT that you minted, but there's only a very limited number of them, and whitelist or waitlist or allow list or whatever is super jam packed with people who want to go get. The whales are going to win every time because they can just overpay for gas and they'll jump ahead of everyone and which is really not the idea or the spirit of crypto at all. But again, the people developing ETH are gigantic banks, gigantic
I
institutions,
don't work today.
governments.
Do you?
What's that?
Sorry.
What's that?
No, my daughter was
No, no,
walking by. I apologize.
Yeah.
So,
That's
but,
okay.
but,
I was just saying, like,
so,
all the big institutions, so they don't care about the gas fee. Like they'll just print the button,
Right.
they'll just push a button and make more money.
well, if you go back 30, 40 years ago, Schwab got into business so it would cost you a couple $100 to make a trade. Then they got it, then remember in the 90s, it was $4.95 a trade. And now you have free trading. So, and that's been
Yeah.
sort of the way the business is going. Isn't basically crypto going to become the same thing? So they get rid of all those fees down to zero. Just like, didn't Binance come out and say you can trade Bitcoin for free now?
Yeah.
Tell me something. When you trade on Thinkorswim, is it really free?
No, I know. No, it's not real. No,
No.
you're right.
So
Yeah.
they will find a way to keep fees.
No,
That's
I
how they
gotcha.
make their money. They're not in the
Point
business
taken.
of giving you money. They're in the
No,
business of
point
taking your.
taken.
Jesus, Josh,
Right.
what's next? You gonna tell me there's no Santa Claus or what?
Shit.
Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. Hang on a second. Grace, what's up? Grace, what's up? Are you okay?
Good stuff.
What's up?
We could join the crew, the biggest scammers in the world, and become an ETH miner.
Yeah, right. Well, that's the thing. Like all these fees and all that stuff, a lot of it's written right into the code, so it's
Yeah.
calculated automatically in the code.
It's a
Yep.
game, but they're going to change. It's going to change. So
Well, it's-
everybody,
Yeah, in about 10 years. About 10 years.
Right.
it'll change.
Yeah, right.
Because you can't. So you could have all these cryptos get together and say, okay, we're going to run this one gas fee, and then that's manipulation. You know what I mean? Like, am I?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean all these cryptos run this gas?
I mean,
Like all the ERC,
Yeah, like that's what I don't. Sorry.
like all the ETH tokens, the ERC20s and the ERC721 NFTs and all that shit. They all have their own. You pay gas according to the token's traffic, not according to necessarily ETH traffic. But because you're paying usually for that transaction in ETH, you're anyway getting screwed over by the ETH traffic transaction volume, etc. So, but the thing is,
get it.
different tokens have different contracts. So some contracts are optimized to have lower gas fees, others are not. Some of them will charge you incredibly high rates. There's plenty of DeFi staking contracts where if you want to, I think I've told you this, where if you want to unstake a claim that you staked some amount of whatever shitcoin for some amount of time, the actual transaction cost could be hundreds or thousands of dollars when the value of the transaction may only be $100, $200. So you're paying like $2,000 to get out, $500 to get out $200 worth of stuff. Why would you do that?
Well, that's what you explained to me last week. That's what I didn't understand, and can't. Isn't there some regulatory body that says, "Hey, you can't do that"?
No, it's not. No,
Did you
because
say
it's baked
regulatory?
into the code.
Did you say
Yeah.
regulatory? Ha 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 ha. Say that again. It makes me laugh.
I know. You know what I'm trying to say, though, guys.
No. The answer is no.
Yeah, the answer is no, and also that it's nothing that anybody can do about it because it is how the code is built. That's why Solana is so popular because that code is generated to have very low fees baked into the code.
Right.
So,
Right.
It's stunning to me, and that's okay. So if you buy it, if it costs you more to sell something that you own, and you're in a profit, and then you got to sell it, and you lose everything, then
Yeah.
am I missing something here?
yeah, basically,
it's just
ETH
retarded.
turns
I
out
wanted
to
to tell
be
you.
it's a protocol for the rich, and so when they're throwing around their freaking monkey DAOs and everything else, whatever NFTs that they're worth millions of dollars, they don't care if they're paying thousands of dollars in fees. It just doesn't matter to them.
Right. That's exactly right. And that's exactly why it's best to, frankly, avoid most of the shitcoin projects out there unless you really know what you're doing and you have the right position size. Because if you don't, you will get screwed on that kind of thing. And that's why there's some, like even Hex, okay, which is everyone saying, oh, it's a scam. And listen, I can tell you, I got a nice chunk of change from having Bitcoin and claiming my free Hex over the years. I did very well with that when I was at the top.
Nice.
But even that, okay, they have insane fees because the longer you stake, the higher the transaction fee. Like that's an example of where you could be paying hundreds of dollars for like a $20 transaction, which is nuts. So what they did, because the inventor of it was like, he's like, ETH is the scam, the gas is the scam. So what he did is he built this other chain called Pulse or something like that. Pulse X, Pulse Hex, Pulse whatever. And it's basically like a clone of Hex, or, in a sense. And then there's one that's a different one. And it removes that gas nonsense because of that whole thing where the longer you stake, you're paying these insane rates. And the founder of that thing was like, yeah, this is not sustainable. Even though it's still the best option for what it is, it's still not sustainable long run. So they made this other chain and this other crypto just to solve that issue. And so it's basically a new project. But I mean, gas is a non-scalable solution the way that it is right now. If they really want to be the internet or application, the new application thing for the world, you need to solve that gas, because nobody's going to pay thousands of dollars for an app or whatever.
Right.
It's just ridiculous.
So it'll just be down the road, just like it did with stocks. It went from $100 a trade to $4 a trade to $1 a trade to free, or what I mean. And yes, you're right, it's not free, but I got you.
It's never going to be free, because who's going to mine for free with all that power that it costs? Who the hell's going to mine for free? Even though ETH you can mine on your laptop, it still costs electricity. It's not free.
Well, but and this one, but the price of the ETH, if you mine a ETH token and you get $1,500 for it, that's who would do it.
But 99% of the time you're mining, you're not getting anything.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Unless you're mining in a pool, right? But if you're a proper miner on your own and you're not in a pool necessarily, and you have your own mining machines to mine every block yourself, you're just paying money all the time, and once in a while you get a block, maybe.
Got it. Okay, got it.
Right? Like, it's statistics and probabilities.
Yeah, it's very
and
competitive.
The probabilities are not so good.
Yep.
Because you're competing against other people with faster machines. And on ETH, they're kind of ASIC resistant, so you don't have giant supercomputers mining it in the same way that they do Bitcoin. I mean, you do, but they're not getting the benefit of being giant supercomputers necessarily, compared to like Bitcoin miners, which are, super expensive machines basically, and most retail, Bitcoiners are not buying those miners anymore. Like, the last time retail was really mining was like in the first couple of years of mining, and as soon as they figured out how to make good ASICs for that, it became, the only people doing this are super Bitcoin mining hobbyists and stuff, and people figured out the business.
Well, then the other scam is now. Then all of a sudden, now proof of work is killing the environment, so everybody's going to proof of stake, and which is a whole nother mind screw trying to figure that one out, P-Funk, because now you don't even have miners. Now you have people that are staking to validate the transaction. So and the payment is in the form of like an interest rate, or like you get a what do you call it? You get like a staking return. So like for Cardano, you basically averages out to about 5% APR a year. Just for staking your coins.
But don't you, when you stake, don't you lock shit? Doesn't that lock it up?
Yeah.
Right. So
actually, what's funny is in Cardano, it doesn't lock it up, but you're not going to get it unless you're staking. So that's the incentive to stake.
Right.
But there are other chains that are proof of work that do require you to keep it there for a while.
Got it. Right. Yeah. So you're at the risk of the price of the actual asset plus.
That's what happened to Celsius.
Yep.
Right. Celsius had a triple stake phenomenon where you could like buy their token and then stake their token and then stake the stake or something like that. It was like a triple investment shell game. And ultimately, they were taking super high risks doing leverage trades that they were denying, but they did. And apparently, allegedly, that's what everybody's saying. They were doing all these high risk trades that they were saying they weren't doing, and they lost a lot of money. And people were basically the guy who owned it, Mashinsky. He was apparently dumping his tokens that he invented as basically an exit strategy, like the triple staking thing. He figured, that nice stake, man, nice stake.
Wow, that is funny.
Has anyone ever looked at the staking for the Gemini USD coin?
Yeah. What about it?
I don't know what you think about it. I just was checking it out the other day, and
I mean, Gemini is always a fancy pants organization. They do everything exclusive and premium. They put premiums on everything.
Is that the same thing as the Gemini exchange?
Yeah. To me, they seem like the closest thing to a regulated crypto.
Yeah.
Honest.
Yeah, that's
Sure,
the
man.
Winkle.
The
That's the
Gemini, dude.
Winklevoss twins.
Yeah, that's the Winklevi.
Yeah.
The Gemini project is
The
Winklevoss.
Facebook twins.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, the
The
Facebook twins.
The Harvard roads. That's what I
Aren't
always
they
remember them like.
Aren't they the ones that invented Facebook before he stole it? Or so
Uh,
I
Yeah.
say.
They invented another social network that they claimed was
Yeah.
the
well-
Facebook. And then he said,
Okay.
Should have locked that
Here's
shit.
the- it's like, well, he did it though. Like they might have, like ideas are worth a dime a dozen, and he proved that by just buying them out with, whatever.
Yep. Got it. All right. I knew there was something there. Yeah. That he,
Yeah.
he
They have a long history. But the thing is, they've done business together since then. Even like
Oh,
they don't.
really?
It's not like they're mortal enemies or something. They're practical business people.
They run into each other at the Harvard Club.
I
So-
mean,
so
yeah.
So P Funk, I got a question
think-
for you. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you have time, or maybe it's
Yeah,
not.
we got plenty of
We've
time.
been
Go
on here
ahead.
for a while, but I was just curious how you have incorporated these tools that we have into your trading. What have you kept? What have you let go? And just if you care to share or whatever. How do you use these in your trading?
Completely. I got rid of all TA before this. I didn't use much TA. I just used to use levels like in my head, right? That I would look at something, and I 100%. I'm completely relying on them now on the RWT, CBR, or VRE, this new RMLR, and I use it for everything. So I use a 1 minute, a 5 minute, 10 minute, and just look for like those crosses. I couldn't understand for the first couple of months like the entropy and all that kind of stuff, and so you guys saw me going down the path of the RWT, and I'm 100% incorporated and everybody I talk to outside of here, and I've actually had people sit with me and I just can trade off the RWT alone and that in the area, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get it in front of people, and people are seeing what I do that come over to my house to see my setup. So it's amazing what you guys have. And I talk to Yash every day or African every day. They'll both tell you. It's all, I can't imagine not having them. But
But I mean, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, definitely there are firms that use these things.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, these big guys.
They just have different tools. But yeah,
they have their own guy doing it. But I mean, the way you guys have put this whole collection of stuff into one package, you know what I mean? Yeah. I can't, like you guys, you said you went without it for a year. I don't know what I would do. If you guys turned me off tomorrow, I don't know what I would do. I'd be sitting dumbfounded looking at a chart.
We love it, man. We
Once you
love
get to
it.
the top of the mountain, right? It's like, can't live without these.
We love it.
So the only issue that I have that I've had is, again, it's for me sometimes it's just trying to find ideas. So you guys focus mainly on crypto, maybe not all of you, but some of that. And I just need ideas, man, and that's hence why I joined this some room. I didn't join it, but I'm going to trial for it. And it turns out these guys trade off of levels, not TA, but just levels, and that's sort of what I used to do. And if I can take some of the picks that they do and put it onto these tools, then you can read it like a book. Yeah. Hence how I found out about Ford this morning and SoFi this morning. You know what I mean? It's just there's so freaking much shit out there that it's you got to dissect through a lot of this shit.
Well, it is. It's part of it's one of the harder things to do because everyone trades differently. Everyone's got different goals and priority. So like there is no one strategy to teach somebody.
No, right.
Everyone's got to take these tools and make their own way. It's
right.
just the nature of it. Just because we all trade different things, different assets. We all trade different time frames. We all trade on different exchanges. We all trade. There's just so many variables.
Agreed.
So
agreed 100% with you, MJ. And I'm just and that being said, is I'm actually glad that I spent the last 4 or 5 months learning it rather than somebody just giving me the call. Yeah. Because now I know how to fish. Yep. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well, and you know what? And it never ends. I mean, we're all still learning. And then there's always these updates, and Van will find this new trick, and so it's never ending. It's awesome. That's what makes it fun.
Plus, you guys
also actual giving of actual signals, especially on scalps, is just pointless. Like that would be
It's late.
It was like, how can you tell anyone, yeah, take this trade on the 1 minute? Like, it's just completely,
Yeah.
you know, they're never going to be in the same position to do the thing.
No, exactly.
Why would we even, you know, by the time they find out about it, it's already over.
Yeah, the move's been made. Or you get most rooms when they're telling you something like that, all you're doing is buying their stock.
You're literally buying them up so they can dump on you.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So again, I find any ideas and anything that I look at or anybody tells me about anything, all I do is put it onto our tools, and then I'll tell you the real picture.
Yep.
You know? Exactly. Which then becomes, you know. But MJ, back to your question, I can't imagine it's changed. It's changed everything I do is trading, and I'm glad it did. So my compliments.
You're part of the team now, man, because we're all in the same boat. That's exactly all of our journey leads to that. You know, we're all doing the same. We're like, okay, we're screwed now because we can never not have these tools because
no.
Actually, you know what's funny though? The Bilbo has said this too. Like, it is funny. Like, if you take everything away right now, you can almost picture, you know, the PP2 and these distribution levels. You can get to a point where you're like, you start to see this stuff before it happens. You know.
No, you're right. I agree with you. Yeah. But like those couple times I didn't pay you by the 20th, or I paid on the 21st, and then you had to turn me back on.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at my computer, and it's like empty space. I'm like, all right, what do I do for an encore?
We love it. We've got you. We're like selling cocaine, man. You're the user. We got you.
Yeah. You go. Thanks. Great. Already been down that path. Been down that path, man. Sorry. Thank God that ended 7 years ago. I'm lucky I made it out alive. That's all I gotta say, guys. I'm lucky I made it out alive.
This is better than that,
yeah. This actually, I can be okay the next day.
Yeah. Your brain's a little fried, but just not as much.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, well,
and
exactly.
If you're watching the Idiot Box and these so-called financial advisors are telling you to buy a certain stock, go immediately and buy a bunch of puts.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
So true.
What they call it, the Kramer Fund. The Kramer Fund. I think there's guys out there, honestly, that have tracked him that have gone to reverse everything and they're up like huge compared to like him. You know what I mean? So
what I want to do is I know
like
there's people that track Pelosi's husband. His is outperforming the market like crazy. So that's the one we want to be on.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, guys, you can continue. I got to get off here. I got to go do some stuff.
Yeah, I got to go too.
Yeah, me too, guys. I'm gonna go grab a bite and another cup of coffee. It was a pleasure. Thank you guys for coming on the opening. It was good to do this to you.
Yep, definitely a pleasure. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning.
All right, gentlemen. Bye.